Typically, this movement is down the slope of a mountain or through a valley. Typically, what does that mean? It means normally. Typical is the adjective of type. What is type? Type is a group of things having the same characteristics, right? And typical is the adjective of type, meaning having the most usual characteristics of a type, typically. So it means normally. This movement is down the slope of a mountain. What's a slope? Slope is the side of a mountain or a hill, okay? Or through a valley. What's a valley? Valley is a long stretch of land, okay, between the hills. And often a river flows between it. As a glacier moves, it changes the land underneath it. Underneath, what does that mean? Underneath means under. Beneath, underneath, same thing. How? Well, it can carve out lakes, widen valleys, or make new ones, and push earth and large stones ahead of it. Well, it can carve out lakes. What does that mean? Carve. Carve out. What does carve mean? Carve means to make something by cutting it out of a substance, such as wood or stone. And to carve out means to make a physical feature on the surface of the land, okay, by water or by weather, which is wind, carving out, okay. Carve out lakes. What is a lake? Lake is a large area of water surrounded by land. Widen valleys, that means make the valley wide or make new ones, and push earth and large stones ahead of it. What does that mean, ahead? Ahead means in front of it, okay? During the last ice age, huge sheets of ice moved down from the Arctic region. During the last, what does during mean? During means at the period of, okay? The last ice age, what's an ice age? Ice age was a period of thousands of years, okay, when the surface of the earth was covered, a lot of the surface was covered by ice, covered with ice, okay. Huge sheets of ice moved down from the Arctic region. What does Arctic mean? Arctic means relating to North Pole. So Arctic region is the area near the North Pole. In this region it's very cold and they have very little darkness in the summer and very little sunlight in winter. These alter the landscape of much of North America and Eurasia. What's Eurasia? Eurasia is Europe and Asia considered as a whole, okay? Eurasia. Later, the ice sheet stopped advancing. What does that mean, advance? Advance means to move forward. They began melting and then retreated. What does that mean, retreat? Retreat means to move away, go back. Behind them, they left a very different land than what was there before. For instance, moving sheets of ice carved out the Great Lakes in North America. For instance, what does that mean? It means, for example. Instance is an example, or something happening, a case of something happening. Moving sheets of ice carved out the Great Lakes in North America. The Great Lakes, what are these? They are the lakes, large lakes in central North America, and they are the largest group of lakes in the world, and they have connecting waterways, and let me show you the picture. Okay. These are the Great Lakes. Okay, if you see it, it's in the northern part of the United States. You can see northeastern. Okay. And which lakes are they? Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario. Okay, and these have connecting waterways, and it flows to this river which is called St. Louis. Oh no, St. Lawrence, okay, St. Lawrence River, and the water goes out to the Atlantic Ocean. This part. Okay. So these lakes were made by glacier in the past. Let's go to the next part.
North America. Floods can also alter the landscape. Floodwaters can come from rivers or even the ocean. River floods are often caused by too much rainfall or snowmelt after winter. The amount of water is simply too much for the riverbanks. This flooding can be gradual or dramatic and violent. When it's violent, the riverbanks are often washed away. Then, the fast-moving water can uproot trees and large stones, and sometimes even cause mudslides. As the water recedes, it leaves behind large amounts of silt, which can alter the landscape further. On the other hand, ocean floods are different from river floods. Ocean floods usually occur during hurricanes or tropical storms. The force of the wind and the movement of the ocean are so strong that the ocean waters are carried far inland. The shapes of beaches and coastal cliffs can be altered too.
Professor? Okay, what is this part about? This part is about the floods altering the landscape, okay? They talked about two kinds. What were they? River floods and ocean floods. And they talked about the cause and what kind of effect they have. River floods are caused by too much rainfall or small snow melt after winter, okay? And this flooding can be gradual or dramatic, alright? And what it does, sometimes it uproots trees and large stones and cause mudslides, alright? And then when it goes away, it leaves behind large amounts of silt, alright? And ocean floods, they occur during hurricanes and tropical storms, alright? And the force of the wind move the ocean water far inland, okay? And the shape of the beaches and coastal cliffs can be changed. You understand? Floods can also alter the landscape. Flood waters can come from rivers or even the ocean. River floods are often caused by too much rainfall or snowmelt after winter. The amount of water is simply too much for the riverbanks. What's a bank? Bank is the land along the edge of the river, okay? This flooding can be gradual or dramatic and violent. What does violent mean? Violent means happening suddenly with great force. When it's violent, the riverbanks are often washed away. What does that mean, wash away? If water washes away something, it removes it from that place or carries it from that place. Then the fast-moving water can uproot trees and large stones and sometimes even cause mudslides. Uproot, what does that mean? What is a root? Root is the part of the plant which is underground. Okay? Uproot means to pull something out of the ground. And sometimes even cause mudslides. What's a mudslide? Mudslide is mudsliding, right? What is mud? Mud is the sticky mixture of water and earth. Slide. What does slide mean? Slide means to move smoothly over something or against something. That's sliding, moving smoothly against something. Like when you slide over ice, you skate with that principle, right? The amount of water is simply too much for the riverbanks. I did this, sorry. As the water recedes, it leaves behind large amounts of silt, which can alter the landscape further. As the water recedes. What does that mean, recede? Recede is similar to retreat, go back, move away from, okay? It leaves behind large amounts of silt. What is an amount? Amount is how much something is, okay? Of silt. What is silt? Silt is fine sand or soil or mud, okay? That is carried by a river. You understand? The fine sand, mud or soil that is carried by a river. Silt. Which can alter the landscape further. What does further mean? Further means more, okay? To a greater extent. On the other hand, ocean floods are different from river floods. On the other hand, what does that mean? You use on the other hand when you want to talk about something that contrasts, that is different from what you have just said. Ocean floods are different from river floods. Ocean floods usually occur during hurricanes or tropical storms. Usually occur. What is occur? Occur means happen. During hurricanes, what's a hurricane? Hurricane is a strong and violent wind or storm, okay? Hurricanes. Or tropical storms. What does tropical mean? Tropical means relating to the tropics. What is the tropics? Tropics is the area near the equator. So the tropics are the area between these two latitudes, okay? They are 23.5 degrees north of the equator, which is called the latitude of Cancer. Cancer means a crab. And the 23.5 degrees south of the equator, which is called the latitude of Capricorn. Capricorn is a goat. Do you understand? And this line right here, which is in the middle of the earth, is called the equator. It's the imaginary line which divides the earth into two pieces, equal two pieces. Do you understand? And this, the area between these two latitudes, this area is called the tropics. It's very hot and there's a lot of rain